Hi, I'm Greg Cummings, CEO of Power100. Today we're sitting down speaking with Brad Yoho of Dave Yoho and Associates. Um, Brad, thanks for joining us, and thanks for taking the time, man. Looking forward to chatting with you today.
Just glad to be on the podcast, Greg. We always love to contribute to something that our strategic partners do, and Power 100 is a great strategic partner of Dave Yoho Associates.
Awesome. Well, I definitely appreciate everything that you've done. Some of your earlier shows that I attended helped shape and change my life and my business and where we are today. So, um, public thank you for that. But I'll tell you what, before we get started, I'll give a quick overview as far as who we are at Power 100 and sort of why we're talking and what is going to come out of this. So Power 100 is a national publishing company specifically focused on ranking the top 100 CEOs within the home remodeling industry. We start with 7,600 leaders in our database, and through our 5-layer proprietary ranking system that's equipped with multiple internal dynamic algorithms as well as 2 separate points of human interaction, we establish and publish the nation's top 100. Now, through all that, 2 things have really happened. 1, CEOs have been quick to tell us what works for their business. And 2, CEOs have been quick to ask us how they can improve specific gaps in their business. So we listened, right? And we went back to what we do best, sourcing the best data. And out of that, we got the nation's top 15 strategic partners, which we have published that list as well. Now, something not published, however, is available for us on the backside is shows, summits, events that have the largest impact on these top 100 CEOs. And though that list is not published, Dave Yoho Associates you guys have done very, very well and performed very high. So that's kind of why we're here. And on top of that, we're super excited and thankful that we're going to be joining the stage in Houston this May 1st. And I will have Steve McNary, who's our advisory board member, and James Freeman, the number 1 ranked CEO from PJ Fitzpatrick, joining me. So that's kind of how we got here, why we're here. And the point of today is just to really dial down who should attend and why they should attend. So, Brad, with all my stuff kind of set aside, would you mind giving a brief introduction to yourself and then maybe a high level of Dave Yoho and Associates?
Of course. Thank you, Greg. So my name again is Brad Yoho. I'm the COO of Dave Yoho Associates. And we've been in business since the 70s, which is before I was even born. My father founded the company. He used to own a roofing business back in the early 70s. He sold his shares and founded Dave Yoho Associates. And since that point, our mission has been to help companies in this. Now, we do that in a number of different ways. We have a team of consultants. We sell a lot of products digitally. And another product we have is called our Disc Profile. But one of the ways that we do that is by holding industry events that really, really delve into the biggest challenges and issues that companies and leaders are facing today in the industry.
That's cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's amazing. You guys have been going for so long. The things that Dave has done over the years has really changed hundreds, probably thousands of CEOs and leaders' lives. I'm curious, how many events? Do you have that actual number? Like how many events that y'all have actually put on?
I'd love to know that, Greg. I can tell you how many events that I've been a part of since I've been here. That number is 57.
Okay.
And that's public seminars. I have no idea. It's got to be in the hundreds. Maybe over 300, something like that. It's because I know many years ago we used to do more of these in a year. So I would love to know what that number is.
I'm curious, what's your favorite memory? Do you have a memory that kind of the shows that where you're like, this is something that I really want to be a part of, or just had a big impact on your life?
Wow. There's so many. I learned a lot from my brother. I will tell you that my brother was a big part of this company, and he's actually since semi-retired. But seeing him up on stage and really grabbing people's attention with his dynamism, his humor at times was a big impact on me. I will tell you, just seeing Here's one thing I can tell you. I loved seeing, 15, maybe even some cases 20 years ago, some of the people who came to our programs and now they're at the top of the industry. And I remember meeting them, uh, several people in kind of the early stages of their careers and hearing their stories, just where they came from, why they wanted to be in business, why they wanted to grow their business, what their personal stories were. And then to see them just achieve the success, 15, 20 years later has been remarkable. It's tough to kind of boil it down to one story because there's so many, but that was the biggest takeaway for me, just being young in this industry and meeting these people who had these big goals that they wanted to attain and watching them achieve them has been remarkable.
That's awesome. Not everybody gets to see those successes like that. And from a business owner standpoint, it's hard to do something on your own because when you're an owner or a CEO, you don't typically have a circle of people that get it, that understand both the industry and the challenges of what you're going through. And so I think for me, like a lot of those events, it's just kind of a relief to know you're not alone with it. And then on top of that, you're able to get so many different tools to be successful and just to come out of it kind of, really energized. But from your perspective, and specifically on this show in Houston, who should be attending? Is it CEOs of companies that are, over 100 million, under 5 million, somewhere in between? Who's the actual audience meant for?
Sure. So it's a leadership summit. So we'll start there. CEOs, owners, executives. But there's going to be topics for sales managers. There's going to be topics for marketing managers. So it's not just the leaders of the ship. It's the people who are driving some of the departments as well, who are going to be able to learn from some of the speakers who we have coming. As far as the mix, it's something that typically when we hold our events, there's a wide range of people who come because you have the people who have kind of built their business up off their backs. They could be an entrepreneur. They could be an installer. They could be a salesperson in a previous life. They founded a company. They have a skill set that defines them. They grow their business. And what do I do next? Where do I go from here? They kind of have, peaked, shall we say. They've reached that point where they're looking for the best next step to take them. So that could be someone at 5 million, could be someone at 10 million, but they kind of have that point where they reach a breaking point and they say, I need assistance, or at least the ones who thrive do. I need assistance to grow my business. That doesn't mean, though, Greg, that if someone is of a larger company who's going to be attending, they're not going to get anything out of it. We have a lot of people who are in the 50 plus million range who are going to be in attendance. A lot of them come to meet some of the people who are at the event, legends of the industry. They come to network. They come to hear specific topics. We always try to mix up the topics that we do at our events to feature things that we haven't touched on in a long time. So it could be a specific topic that drives interest for someone who wants to come to the program.
Can you talk? You said something that kind of stuck out to me, where it's like peaking or coming to a platform, right? Can you what do you mean when you say that? Like, are you talking about a profitability? So I'm running a $15 million siding business, right? And I've been at 15 million. I don't want to get higher. Is that what you're talking about? You talking about profitability, or are you talking about taking from 15 to 20 million?
I think the best way I can describe it is, what is your end goal as a business owner or as a leader? Maybe your end goal is to sell your business in X number of years. Maybe your end goal is to become a multi-market company where you're opening up 5 or 6 different locations in different markets. And maybe your end goal is just to become 5% more profitable in 2 or 3 years. That's what I really mean by that. So, we see these people, we hear the stories from these people who are very skilled, but they're skilled in kind of one area, and that's how they built their business. And when it reaches a point where they get so busy, and they have to hire more people. They have to have the systems and the processes in place to scale, and to scale at a sustainable rate. They don't really necessarily know how to do that because they've never been through it before. And that's not a slight, because the people who have built their businesses up to this point that I'm talking about, 50 plus million, they were at that point as well. So coming and hearing from those people, some of the challenges they faced, some of the windfalls that they experienced by speaking with the right people, talking to the right people, learning the processes that help them grow their business, is really one of the biggest benefits of attending a program like this.
Yeah, you see it all the time. I mean, I kind of equate everything to sports. It's like when you level up, go from JV to varsity to college to the pros, there's different levels of support that you need. Everything from your training staff to your diet to your recovery to your actual practice, weightlifting. You don't do the same things at each level. Or even if going to the highest level of the MBA, that the level of attention that you need when you're 20 years old or 22 years old versus 33 years old is going to be significantly different, right? And so, what you said really hits home, where it's like a leader of any size company really can come and kind of figure out where they are and then see the different solutions that are out there. And I personally, we've looked at over strategic partners in this industry recently, and you have several of our top 15 partners that will be at the show that really are an additional tools where folks can gain that level up mentality, right? Utilizing technology and what's out there, just like elite athletes do, in order to play in at the highest level for the longest amount of time. I'm curious to hear from you, like, what are the biggest challenges that you this year? Keeping in mind we have an election year coming. We've just come off of COVID, where people were waking up in the morning with orders in their emails. What do you think the biggest challenges are that we're seeing in our industry today?
Yeah, I think, Greg, lead generation is the biggest issue right now. I think most people you speak with would agree with that. There's a lot of reasons for that. I think a lot of people made their hay, kind of in the peak of the pandemic, when leads were just at an unsustainable rate. They were never going to stay that way. So there was going to be some natural decline there. But I think also you're seeing a shift by some companies right now that understand they need to incorporate some other forms of marketing to really drive business, some more non-traditional marketing methods. This is actually a topic we're going to be delving into at the program. So how can you combine some of the more, common methods that are used today, whether that be just internet search traffic or social media or just simple forms on your website? How can you combine that with more non-traditional methods like shows and events and canvassing and things like that? How can you mix those two together? So I think leads are going to continue to be an issue throughout this year and probably well into 2025. There's a lot of other stuff happening right now, some legal issues regarding leads, and we don't really speak on the legal side of things, but it's a big issue in this industry right now, understanding how you can contact people, who you can contact that's been in your database, and you need to be aware of those issues. So that would be number one. The lack of ongoing training certainly remains a big issue that we see. I think that a lot of companies have a tendency to onboard people pretty well, but once they get those people in the seats, they hold meetings and they give them guidance, but there's just not enough one-on-one training. There's not enough retraining. If someone's struggling, sometimes people cut bait too soon with a salesperson without understanding, okay, this person may need a little retraining. They may need to be directed back to what had them successful in the beginning. So those are two of the biggest issues we're seeing right now. I think there's other ones that are on the horizon, but those I would say are going to be two of the biggest things we cover at our event in Houston.
Awesome. What do you say to the people that maybe the CEOs and leaders of their companies that say, look, I don't have the time to do this, to get out to the show. Or, I've heard this a lot of times. If you've been to one, you've been to them all. What's the reinforcement behind, getting back out to a show?
I think one of the best quotes that I heard early on in my career had to do with people who succeed in business and people who succeed really in life. They invest in themselves and they invest in their education. And that's critical. There's something that you can learn every single day. Now, people are busier now than they've ever been before. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely accurate in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
But setting aside time to come to a program like this is vital. And people a lot of times will say, oh my gosh, it's a 3-day program. I can't spend 3 full days plus travel away from my business. That's not possible right now. My response to that would be, first off, it's not 3 full days. We set it up so that it's a half day, full day, half day program. So that allows you to travel accordingly and not necessarily spend as much time away as you might think. The second thing I'll say to that is you really only need one idea. I mean, it's at the end of the day, if you can pick up one idea from this program that's sustainable, that's all you need for it to become a profitable venture. And at the end of the day, that's what everyone should be seeking. You should be seeking that wisdom to become more profitable in what you're doing. And that you don't view this summit that we're doing as an experience where you have to do every single thing and implement 35 things when you get back to your business. You have to implement a couple of things. That's all you have to do. Take 1 or 2 or 3 ideas, meet 1 or 2 or 3 people. It's going to have a tremendous impact on you. The people at this conference are people who were in many of the people who are listening to this right now shoes. I guarantee you. They were going through a lot of the problems economically, maybe in 2008, 2009, when they were running their businesses. They may have been 5 or 10 years ago in a position that a lot of people are at right now, revenue and profitability wise, and they overcame a lot of these challenges. So just talking to them, meeting those people and having those conversations is a huge win.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And I know it is hard to get away from the business, but I think at the end of the day, if I were to talk to somebody about this, a CEO or a leader across the country, and they were to say, look, I don't have time to do that, I would literally say that's the exact reason why you need to be there, is because if your business is so dependent on you, then you need to step away from the business, get recharged, take a look at it. Now, 2 things might happen. You might find out what you're not doing, but on the other side of it, you might find out what you are doing right and have that positive reinforcement that will give you more confidence. And that confidence will bleed into your organization. And at the end of the day, that could be just as powerful as bringing something new to the table, right? So selling to that internal customer, as far as your company culture, your beliefs, the things that you've pride yourself on, that there's other people out there across the country that are having success with the same ideas that you do have as well. So, I think those, either way, you pick up something new or you get some positive reinforcement. I think it's a win. Plus you're with some great people, industry leaders. You get caught up on current events, the things that you mentioned earlier, as far as legalities. There are some major legal issues coming down with marketing and contacting clients, or customers, I should say, or prospects rather. Getting up to speed on that, or at least getting plugged into a network that can get you and keep you up to speed on that, is important. So I appreciate you sitting down with us today, Brad, and getting a little bit more of insight on the Houston Summit that y'all are putting on. I think it's going to be a great time. We're obviously looking forward to it. Final question I have for you is, what really resonates with Power 100, and what our mission is and what we're doing that makes you want to have us as a part of the event?
Yeah, I think that the industry needs what you're doing, Greg. It needs the spotlight shown on people like this. If you look at other industries, they have had things like Power 100 for a long time. You see it throughout other industries in place. They're established. People look at the leaders. They look at what they do. They look at the partners in the industry and what they mean to the industry. So this is a great industry, and it deserves the same type of recognition that those other industries get. So shining a spotlight on people like that who make a difference. And the other thing I'll say about that is it gives younger people, it gives people who are just starting out their business something to strive for. If you're just kind of starting up a business or getting into a leadership position and who's kind of at the top of the field almost, how can I get to that level? This person was probably in my shoes 10, 12 years ago. It gives them something to aspire to. So I think it's wonderful.
Awesome. Well, appreciate the kind words. And, we're working our tails off every day to remain, the most unbiased platform out there. In fact, the nation's only true unbiased platform that ranks the leaders. And we want to create a blueprint, like you said, for success for others to achieve for. And at the end of the day, we'll raise the bar for the entire industry altogether. And at that, homeowners across the entire country will win, right? And people will get recognition for doing the business the right way. So I appreciate your time today, Brad. Again, I'm Greg Cummings, CEO of Power100. If you want to see more content like this, you can visit our website, follow us on any social medias. And we look forward to seeing you folks at Houston if you decide to go. As always, power up.
Thanks, Greg.